breakfast for only $6. Go to your Happy Plates with the $6 IHOP value menu. Available every day at IHOP, $7 in some locations.
Yeah, welcome in, everybody. Happy Thursday to you all. Ben Fletcher, Sammy along with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. It is San Diego Sports 760. You can listen to this show on the free iHeartRadio app. You can find us on X at Fletch and Sammy. You can find us on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. And today, Sammy is somewhere in this world. I believe he is up north a little bit in our sister station studios, but he looks ever so handsome on the stream. And then we got Big Marsh running the board today on the ones and twos. What's going on, Big Marsh? How are we feeling?
It's always a great day to have a great day in America's finest city.
Sammy, where the hell are you?
I am in the AM 570 studios up here in Burbank. We had some family friends in town, so saw them last night and just doing the show. I will be back tomorrow in San Diego.
Does it just smell like Petros Papadakis in there? I imagine
Petros I'm literally looking at their studio. He's wandering around the halls right now, so maybe he'll do a surprise stop by later.
It probably smells like a deep olive oil Greek salad, maybe some Greek desserts. But Petros Papadakis, man, you're sitting in the seat of a legend right now. It is San Diego Sports 760. We will start the show off with the Padres today, who are actually in progress right now. They're losing 5-1. We won't spend too much time on them during the show today, because if you care about the Padres, you're probably watching the game. So we're going to talk tons of NFL, lots of betting, and get you ready for a college football weekend as well. But this is playing out right in front of us why the Mets should be worrisome for every team heading into the postseason. If the Mets get in, which that is still an if, the Mets' power should terrify pretty much everyone. Last night they had, I believe, 4 home runs in the game, maybe 3. But I know that last night Pete Alonso, Marte, and Soto all hit home runs. Soto almost had 2 of them. One of them just barely went foul later on in the game. And the Padres got bailed out. They got bailed out by a Manny Machado grand slam, which Manny Machado home runs have been few and far between this year, but it was good to see. And maybe that's a sign of things to come from Manny Machado. And I'm not necessarily talking bad about the Padres from last night, but over this series, you've seen why the Mets should be terrifying for everyone in baseball, because today, Alonso, Nimmo, both homer. So if the Mets start getting hot and the Mets' power is really coming back, they're a problem for anybody in the postseason, because that's what can change games on a dime, especially in a shortened series here as we get ready for that MLB postseason. So not that it's for nothing. The Padres are probably going to lose this series. They're down 5-1 right now. It's the top of the 7th inning is coming up, or the bottom of the 7th inning is coming up, excuse me. But Sammy, don't you agree? Like, the Mets are pretty terrifying for just about everyone in baseball, because this lineup with Alonso and Soto and Nimmo and Marte, they can all hit for power on any given night.
Totally, especially in a short series. I think in a wild card, that's a team that if as it holds right now, they're probably going to LA. The Mets have actually played very well against the Dodgers this season. So if I'm the Dodgers, I'm not feeling great about them. I certainly would probably rather, despite it being an NL West opponent, take the Diamondbacks or the Giants, because they can't play very well. And then on the Padres side, it's just disappointing, because this felt like one of the last opportunities the Padres had to prove that they could compete with elite teams. And say what you want about the Mets, but they are a playoff team. They're a team above 500, and that's been the big bugaboo for this team. Is they're 1-11 on the road playoff series against teams above 500. This was a real statement series, and maybe they pull something out here in the last few innings, but right now it's looking like the Mets are going to win the series. And it's not that it can't change in the playoffs, but it's disappointing that a week and a half out from the postseason, we're still having the same questions about, can this team beat elite competition? And they're not helping their case.
Padres still 5 games up on the Mets here. Probably going to be dropping back to 4 if this result holds. We'll see if the Padres can make something happen against the Mets bullpen. But the D-backs currently sitting 1.5 games behind the Mets. Reds 2 games back. Giants 2 games back of a postseason spot. And the Padres are not helping out any of those teams right now, because it does look like this series is going to end with a 2-1 victory for the Mets. And then you look forward to the Padres potentially going on the road, most likely to face Chicago at Wrigley Field for a 3-game wild card series. And it doesn't make me very comfortable whatsoever seeing what has happened over the last few days. Because really, without Manny Machado last night, like Nick Pivetta wasn't great on the mound. He gave up a bunch of home runs. Manny Machado hits the grand slam that really kind of evens everything out, and you get a bunch of runs in one inning. And then the Padres bullpen held. Mason Miller did really well in the back end, even though he was about 6 inches away from giving up a Juan Soto home run. We'll get off the Padres for now. It's 5-1. They're in the bottom of the 6th. We'll see what happens. But it kind of frustrating series out in New York. Let's get to the big three. Sammy Long takes us through the top stories in the world of sports. Big Marsh on the mic. If you will, please smash that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
I love it. It happens about once a show. I look down at the stream and we're at 69 people in the stream right now. So shout out to you. All of you are very, very nice. You can watch the show on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760, on X at Fletch and Sammy. All 70 of you now. Damn it. Someone drop out, please. Sammy, where are we going with the show today?
It's a freaky Thursday. All right, we're starting with Thursday Night Football. It's Thursday Night Football. I know people are a little bummed with the matchup tonight. Miami going on the road to take on the Bills. They're 11.5-point dogs in this game. Per ESPN, head coach Mike McDaniel and GM Chris Greer's job is not, quote, playoffs or bust. So what they're saying is they believe that despite Miami missing the playoffs, I think both of them could still have a job. Fletch, reaction to this, would you still keep them, or do you think this is a lie?
I think it's true as of right now, but that's as of right now. Look, anytime people get in front of a podium and talk about job security, it's true until it isn't. Even with players, if they sign a big contract, yeah, that contract is true until it isn't. There's always things you can do. Playoff or bust, maybe not true for the GM, Greer. I think it's absolutely true for Mike McDaniel. Look, this has been an experiment. Mike McDaniel doesn't fit the mold of a traditional NFL head coach. Doesn't look like one, doesn't talk like one. He's funny with the media. I wouldn't say he's great with the media, but Mike McDaniel feels to me like a coordinator. And while I think he's a hell of a coordinator, and I think he's a really bright offensive mind, this year, if it continues on the track that it started, maybe he's not the best head coach. So I don't know. I feel bad for Mike. I really like him. I'm a fan. And I think he's brilliant. I just don't think that it's really working out as of year 4 of this experiment.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I don't know where I fall on this because I actually like Mike McDaniel. I see both sides of that. Sometimes you need a new cook in the kitchen. You need some new voices, and maybe the team has lost a little faith there. There's been some reports about that. But I also think it's unfair to pin all the blame, and I get it. You're the head coach of a football team. And you're going to take the fall when things don't go well. And this team is definitely underachieved, but it's also not his fault that Tua Tagovailoa has dealt with a massive injury history, and they've had to trade Jalen Ramsey, and they've had a couple guys want out, and maybe that's on him. But it does feel like the Dolphins team was irrelevant for years and years. They finally become relevant again. I was super high on them last year until Tua got hurt. And yeah, they haven't started the way they wanted to. And I think he will get fired. I don't believe this. I think him and Greer will be gone. But I do think Mike McDaniel will get snatched up real quick if he were to, because he certainly was
not as a head coach. Unfortunately,
he will be an offensive coordinator in some league.
He may go back to the 49ers. Like, Shanahan loves Mike McDaniel. He talks about him all the time. So that may be a situation where next year, maybe it's Saleh is back as the DC, McDaniel is back as the OC. I wouldn't hate it.
Totally. All right, let's go to story number 2. So it's some big news for college football. The NCAA eliminated the spring transfer portal window. So currently it is only open from January 2nd to January 11th. This drew criticism from Ryan Day, who said that teams should not be penalized for still being in the national championship race, because the national championship's usually held on January 14th. But they did get rid of the spring transfer portal window, which is around April, May. Reaction to this, Fletch, what does this do for college football?
So I think the best news you can see is they're also talking about pushing it back. So last year, the winter portal was open December 9th through the 28th. Spring window open from April 16th to the 25th. FBS schools all over the country, as they were getting ready for bowl games and stuff, they were seeing people entering the transfer portal like crazy. Now, it does look like they may even extend it past the national championship. The talks will continue here after the season, I believe. So it's not going to happen this year. But it sounds like, Sammy, what you and I were talking about like a couple weeks ago, where this needs to be after the national championship game, or at the very least after the semifinals. And then guys who are playing in the national championship game have an extended window after that. It sounds like that's on the horizon, which is the right move for college football. In fact, the way they're doing it right now makes zero sense. So we'll see if they pull their heads out of you-know-where, but the spring transfer window closing, who cares? That's kind of the last stitch effort anyways. I think this gets guys in a little bit earlier, which is a good thing.
Yeah, they added, so it's in a step in the right direction. I'm with you, Fletch. It should be after the national championship game. January 2nd is still too early. Teams should not be penalized for making it. And I think it hurts teams. It doesn't hurt your Ohio State, despite Ryan Day saying it. Ohio State's always going to get your blue chip recruits. I'll tell you what program it hurts. Look at Washington from 2-3 years ago. They're in the national championship game against Michigan. They're not a blue blood program. They're a big program. I lived in Seattle for a few years. They take their football seriously up there, but it's not a blue blood program. And they get penalized for having a kind of once in a generational team for that school, because they're not the first call for all the 5-star quarterbacks. They're going to Ohio State. They're going to Alabama, Clemson, Texas, all these schools like that. And they kind of get iced out on it. It should happen after the national championship game. Teams that get eliminated, players that get eliminated that are playing in the playoff have 5 days to go to the transfer portal. They're in the right direction. It's good that it's not in December anymore. That was ridiculous when teams that didn't even qualify for the college football playoff was getting a head start on all these recruits. And then I also like the spring transfer portal being gone because, I mean, it's crazy. We were seeing Nico Maliaba with UCLA, guys threatening in April or May when they've spent a whole training camp, threatening if I don't play more, if someone else offers more money, just leaving a program. And it feels wrong that this is happening. And it takes away the integrity of college football a little bit. I'm glad that they have one transfer portal for the foreseeable future.
Let's get one more in there, Sammy. What do you got?
We're heading back to the NFL. So Dan Orlovsky on ESPN begs the media to give Caleb Williams, quote, a little bit more time, saying it's unfair how harsh the media has been on him. Do you think you should give Caleb Williams a little bit more time, Fletch?
Is that Dan Orlovsky or is that Sammy Long? Look, Brent Sperry is a diehard Chicago Bears fan. You won't hear anyone talk more crap about Caleb Williams and the Bears than Brent Sperry. We've seen a lot from Caleb at the NFL level. We saw way too much of Caleb at the college level. I think that we have a pretty good grasp on what he is. Now, do I think that Caleb Williams is going to get better and has potential to be a 10-year starter in this league? I do. I really do. But right now, we should call it as we see it. Caleb Williams has been a disappointment for the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams, who had more hype around him than just about anyone coming out of college, has been a bit of a bust through one season and 2 games. Can that turn around quickly? Yeah, I think it can. But right now, him and Ben Johnson, the pairing just isn't working. When Caleb Williams is on script, he's looked really, really good at times this year. As soon as that script runs out, he looks lost, man. And that is the worst thing you can look like as an NFL quarterback, is to look like you don't know what you're doing. And unfortunately, you listen to guys like a Greg Cosell, who spends literally every waking moment of his life watching NFL film. He'll tell you he doesn't think Caleb Williams reads defenses that well. And I think that's probably the most important quality of being an NFL quarterback outside of poise, leadership, and arm talent. Reading defenses might be more important than all of them. And if Caleb Williams isn't there yet, man, he's got to learn, and he's got to get there quickly.
Yeah, I've been a big Caleb Williams defender. It's been hard recently, and there's no more excuses for Caleb Williams, because last year I gave him the benefit of the doubt. He had a defensive head coach, and Matt Eberflus got fired halfway through. The offensive line was an abomination, and he was running for his life the whole time, and neither was really the defense. This year, there's no exceptions, and he is only 2 games in, so I understand what Orlovsky's saying is that this thing could flip around, but it needs to flip around fast because he has the receivers. Rome Odunze looks like a star. DJ Morris there. The offensive line is much better. There's not really any excuse for Caleb Williams. Got an offensive-minded head coach, and you see what you pointed it out. When it's on script, it looks great the first drive of the game. When it's off script, it looks really bad. And Caleb's missing throws. He missed a couple big throws in that Minnesota game, missed a couple big throws in that Lions game. Now, I do think people are focusing a little bit too much on Caleb and the fact that the Bears did give up 52 points to a division rival, which probably was the bigger story in that game. But Caleb Williams is the number 1 overall draft pick and has to be better. It's got to turn around fast. I'm not saying it's done yet, but he certainly has too many weapons around him. This is not a Cam Ward situation where if Cam Ward has a bad year, we're going to go look at the Titans offense. Tyjae Spears is the savior. I mean, come on now. Like that. Like, he doesn't have. Caleb has weapons, so it needs to turn around fast, or we could be looking at a potential bust.
Got a couple giveaways for you today. A pair of tickets to go see Billy Idol and Joan Jett on September 23rd at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. We will be giving those away this hour. And I actually think as of today, I am going to that show. So I hope to see you out there. And then Aztec football tickets as well for this weekend's matchup against Cal. GoAztecs.com to buy tickets. 7:30 kickoff. They're going to be celebrating Rocky Long, DJ Pumphrey, that entire 2015 Mountain West Championship team. And a lot of those guys, hopefully, I think a lot of those guys are going to be stopping by our pregame coverage, which J.R. Tolver and I will get going at 5:30 on Saturday. Those tickets will be in hour number 2. Coach Kentera going to be joining the show coming up at 1:30. We may also have a guest at 12:30, waiting on confirmation on that one before we give out the name. But it is San Diego Sports 760. We are going to take our first break of the day. And coming up next, we need your help. So get that text line ready, 70470. Start your message with team. Sammy and I have whittled it down to 5 games that we will be choosing from for this weekend's Survivor Pool. We got $1,000 on this. This is our opportunity to become millionaires. You all want that. This show gets better if Sammy and I are millionaires. I promise you that.
Production value through the roof.
We might buy a warehouse. It's going to be incredible. Marshall's going to be a full-time beer can opener. I don't know what we're going to do. But you'll find out next what teams we're going with live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, it's Fletch for Prize Picks. If you want to download the Prize Picks app today, you're going to get 50 free bucks in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup when you use promo code Fletch. That's FLETCH. And I just opened up the Prize Picks app, and there's a couple of TNF discounts waiting for me. Josh Allen discounted to just 213.5 passing yards. Tua Tagovailoa discounted to just 212.5 passing yards. You may see those coming up on long shots, just saying, as we go all football today. But that's what's beautiful about Prize Picks. Every time you open up the app, there's something there waiting for you to jump on and make a lineup, pick more than or less than on some discounted stat projections, which I'm sure we will be taking advantage of coming up at 12:45. Your favorite players are in the season. They're rocking and rolling. It's time for you to cash in on their stats. It's simple. You just pick your favorite players or your least favorite players, choose more than or less than on their stat projections, and boom, you've got action here in California, where it's hard to find action. Prize Picks makes it fun, quick, and easy. You can build your lineup in under a minute while you're settling in on the couch, eating some potato skins, getting ready for some football on a Sunday. Prize Picks is the best spot here in California to get action. Withdrawals fast, safe, and secure. You can win on a Sunday night, have that money in your bank account by Monday morning. Just use promo code Fletch when you download the app. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup, because on Prize Picks, it's good to be right. San Diego Sports 760, we present our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival live this Friday and Saturday from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. The biggest names across all styles of music all together on one stage on one weekend. Many of these stars, like Mariah Carey, Tate McRae, who I happen to know, Big Marsh on the mic, big Tate McRae fan, Tim McGraw and others all have headlined the biggest festivals around the world this year, and we have them all on one stage this weekend. Experience the show live all weekend long. Stream it only on Hulu. Listen on iHeartRadio tomorrow and Saturday beginning at 7:30. Sponsored locally here in San Diego by STK Steakhouse, who I happen to know has a $9.99 burger today, celebrating National Cheeseburger Day.
Hey.
How about that? Sammy,
That sounds fantastic.
What's your favorite fast food cheeseburger?
Oh, I gotta go In-N-Out. I mean, just California classic bag packaging. You eat it on the corner. It's open till 2 a.m. You got to go In-N-Out.
In-N-Out is the best California cheeseburger. There's no doubt in my mind. Big Marsh, what about you?
Marathon Burger in LA is by far the best.
Now, is that fast food? I don't know. Marathon.
A Marathon Burger. It's a Nipsey Hussle spot. It's in I think West Hollywood, but I went up there a few weeks ago. The best burger I've ever had in my life.
What's the famous LA burger? It's a little shack by the convention center. What's the name of that place?
I forgot that one, but look it up. Marathon Burger. The type of beef they use, I forgot the name of it, but Marathon Burger is the best.
Someone help me out here. Steve Hartman took me to this place years ago, and it was one of the best burgers I've ever had. It's in LA. It's by the convention center. It's literally a shack, and it's been there forever apparently. But it was a phenomenal burger. Sammy, what you got? You said, dude.
Oh no, I was trying to. Marshall answered it for me, but I was trying to see where that burger was at because I might have to run over there before I head down to San Diego after the show.
Come on. All right. Sammy and I are in this pool called Circa Survivor. We've been talking about it for weeks now, but we went out to Las Vegas. Circa took great care of us. We put in $1,000 to pick one team each week. Once you pick them, you can't pick them again. And if we win this thing, there's about 18,000 people left. But if we are the one last standing, we are winning millions of dollars. And this show gets better. I promise you that. So we've whittled it down to 5 games for this weekend of what we like. Commanders over the Raiders playing in DC if Jaden Daniels plays. Bucks over the Jets if Justin Fields doesn't play. Bucks are also at home. Seahawks at home over the Saints. That one is my favorite. Cowboys over the Bears. My least favorite, but I do think it'll happen. And then Falcons over Panthers, which I know Sammy loves. Falcons are on the road taking on the Panthers. So Sammy, pick one and defend it. And then text line jump in 70470. Start your message with team.
I'm going to throw one more in there. I like the Steelers over the Patriots. I know it's a tight spread, but I got a really good feeling about that.
Where is it?
It's in New England. So they are on the road, but I do like that one. Okay, so of the 5, Bucks over the Jets, if Fields doesn't play, feels safe. Now, my only problem with it is the Bucks are missing 3 offensive linemen. Gedicke's hurt. Tristan Wirfs is hurt, and their right guard got hurt last night. So I'm a little like, yes, I think that they win. I don't see them losing the Jets, especially if Fields doesn't play.
And Baker does do that thing where he'll have an awesome performance and then have kind of a dud.
That's what it makes me a little nervous, but I would feel confident. I'm with you. I like Seattle over the Saints. I feel like everyone's going to be on that game. That's my only hesitation. And the Seahawks could put up a clunker, but yes, it's in Seattle. I do not see the Saints.
Everyone's already on it. I think it's one of the most heavily bet games of the week already.
The Commanders make me a little bit nervous because even if Jaden Daniels plays, he's dealing with a knee sprain, which means it's going to limit his mobility. And we saw what happened against Green Bay. Now, Geno Smith could not hit water if he fell out of a boat on Monday night against the Chargers. So that gives me some hope there. I like the Falcons a lot. That feels very safe to me. But then the problem with that one is it is a division rivalry. So
and it's on the road.
And the Panthers need a win. The Cowboys over the Bears, I'm with you. That's probably the closest game of all these. I would take the Cowboys over the Bears, but then kind of a similar situation. The Bears are needing to win badly. In their season, the people had high expectations. I had high expectations for them. They have not lived up to that so far. This is kind of the last stand for them in week 3.
And you could easily see Dallas, who's had big offense the last 2 weeks, come out and just drop an absolute dud where CD does nothing, Pickens does nothing, and they were fighting for their lives last week against the Giants. I don't know how I feel about the Cowboys there, and if the Cowboys are the reason we lose millions of dollars, I might just punch myself in the face repeatedly until I pass out. Falcons over the Panthers, I do like that one. I like it a lot. However, the last 5 minutes of the game, Bryce Young looked pretty good against who were the Panthers playing?
They were playing.
It was a close game. They came all the way back. Cardinals. They were playing against the Cardinals. and they came all the way back, and Bryce Young was leading that charge. That defense is opportunistic, so I don't know. At home, things might be a little different. The safest pick does feel like Seahawks over the Saints.
The Seahawks is nice because if we're doing tiers, and I know a lot of our listeners are playing along with their own Circa Survivor pools, it's like even why I wouldn't want to pick the Commanders is because even if they win, the Commanders are a team that when they're healthy, I would consider picking down the road. Whereas Seattle, who is nice, did whoop up on Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh last week. That's a total matchup based play. You wouldn't be comfortable picking, Seattle against the Niners or the Cardinals even because you just don't know what you're getting. They do feel like the safe play, but then part of me makes me super nervous that everyone is going to be on them.
Yeah, and as the season progresses, these questions are only going to get tougher. Like, I would have been disappointed with us if we didn't get through the first 2 weeks. Now, we took a little bit of a risk in week 1 picking the Cardinals, and that almost came up to bite us against the Saints, by the way. But week 2, I felt good about our Ravens pick, but we burned the Ravens so early. We almost have to go with the secondary team this week.
Right, that's why we're not picking the Bills against Miami. That's why that one's off. We can't pick Bills and Ravens back-to-back weeks.
This is kind of making me like the Falcons more. This is kind of making me like the Bucks more. In fact, I think I'm really liking the Bucks. Text us 70470. Start your message with team. We essentially have 24 hours to figure this out. By the time we're off the air tomorrow, we need to have a pick essentially locked and loaded. 70470. Start your message with team. All right, coming up next, let's take our first look at tonight's game, Thursday Night Football in Buffalo. It's actually a picture-perfect, gorgeous day in Orchard Park, which is where the Buffalo Bills play. Let's get into it coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
You're clear, brother. 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Original Tommy's, Fat Burger, Original Tommy's. Yeah, with the red sign and all that. Yeah, I'm looking right at it.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The Mets are currently up 6-1 over the Padres right now in the bottom of the seventh. They are looking to complete a series win over the Padres, taking 2 of 3 games. Thursday Night Football, Miami traveling up north, take on the Bills in Buffalo. It's clear skies up there. The Bills are currently favored by 11.5. Tua Tagovailoa will be active for this game. This report was presented by Taco Bell.
Big Marsh was able to find it. I texted Steve Hartman to confirm it. It is Tommy's Original Burger up in Los Angeles. That is so damn good. One of the best burgers I've ever had. You know how little I like to give LA credit for anything. That place was amazing. And the chili that they put on that burger, whew. Ornberger, myself, and Steve Hartman all ate it sitting on the curb outside of Tommy's up in LA. And it is just a shack. And you go up and you say chili burger and you can't make any adjustments or anything. That place, oh my God, that burger was good. The bathroom trip a few hours later was not quite as good. All right, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long, we're with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. A couple giveaways, one coming up this hour. We got Billy Idol tickets alongside Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. September 23rd, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. That is next Tuesday. Tickets, you can get them at Ticketmaster.com. If you want to win some tickets, just keep listening for the next 8 or 9 minutes. We will be giving them away. Tonight's matchup, Buffalo Bills hosting the Miami Dolphins. Bills off to about as good a start as you can get with a win over the Ravens under their belts in that dramatic opening week Sunday night football game. And then a dominant win a week ago over, I can't even remember who they were playing. It was that irrelevant.
The Jets.
The Jets. Thank you, Sammy. But it's been a great start for the Buffalo Bills, who are looking to pick up right where they left off last year. But tonight, is there any chance the Miami Dolphins, who have looked terrible through 2 weeks of football, potentially looked like the worst team in the NFL, can go in there and just cover the spread against the Bills? Sammy, what's the number looking like?
11.5. Well, I certainly think they can cover the spread. Yeah, I think it's going to be a tall task for them to win the game because of what we've seen from Miami. The defense has been god awful. I mean, they've been really bad through the first couple weeks. They let Daniel Jones and the Colts light them up, and they did the same thing to Denver, but still, no excuse for the defense. And then they let New England, who couldn't score at all, was a really rough offense against the Raiders in week 1, do the same thing to them in Miami. Now, I know there was a kickoff return, a punt return touchdown on both sides, but still the defense has not been great. Now, I think this game will actually be pretty close at half. I wouldn't be surprised actually if Miami has a lead at half. Now, I do think Buffalo will win this game, but 11.5 feels like a big number for me for a game where it's a division rival. They both know each other well, and Buffalo has dominated Miami. But especially for a backdoor cover with 11.5, you're giving me a touchdown and a field goal. I mean, this team can score. And I know the offense hasn't been there, but Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. I think this is a little bit.
Jalen Waddle questionable.
I think he's going to play, but we'll see if he doesn't. They got Malik Washington. They still got some guys there that can play. The reason I think this game is close, where I do think Buffalo will win the game, but I do think this game is close because Miami's playing for their lives. There's a lot coming out about Miami. Is Mike McDaniel going to be fired? We're hearing reports. We talked about it in the big 3 of them saying he's not going to be fired. His job's safe. Well, there's smoke, there's fire. And we've heard a lot coming out of this Miami locker room about how he's lost the locker room. What's going on here? I mean, this is a massive game for Miami because if they win this game, people look at him and go, okay, maybe they've had a faltering first 2 weeks. If they lose this game, which they're expected to do, that's what Vegas is telling you, then you're sitting there going, are they change a quarterback next year? Is Tua gone? Is Mike McDaniel gone? Is Chris Greer gone? Is this whole iteration? Are they trading Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill? We'll see. But I think there's a lot of implications on this game tonight.
So week 1, the Dolphins lose to the Colts 33-8. That was the Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones coming out party where he looked fantastic, scored on every single possession. And then against the Patriots in week 2, Patriots, a team that we still think is a couple years away if they're going to get good with Drake May. Drake May drops 33 points on him. Miami's defense has not been able to stop anyone. They've given up 66 combined points in the first 2 weeks of NFL action against 2 offenses that weren't expected to be that good coming into the year. I feel like Buffalo with James Cook, with Josh Allen, are going to kind of be able to do whatever they want to that Miami defense. So at the very least, we got ourselves a shootout. We got ourselves some fantasy football. We got ourselves some overs coming up in long shots. I have a pretty good feeling about that. I do think the Bills end up covering the spread in this one. I think that offense is just too much. And Miami's defense being as porous as it's been so far, this might not even be much of a challenge. You said you think Miami might have the lead going into halftime.
I think it's gonna be close. I think at halftime this is gonna be a close game. I think the Bills will pull away and they will win by 2 scores. But if I'm talking about value here at plus 11.5, and the over under is interesting. So all the public money, the total opened at 48.5. It's been bet all the way up to 50.5. That's 2 whole points, which is kind of surprising on a short week that the amount of money has been coming in on the over. So you wonder if these two teams do know each other very well. You could see the defenses play a little bit better. I do think Buffalo wins, but I think you also have the shot, even if Buffalo's winning by a lot, to backdoor cover this with some late touchdowns from Miami.
Now, here is the benefit of the doubt to Miami. For about a decade, the Patriots were the most dominant regular season team in NFL history. They won a bunch of Super Bowls as well during that time, but they were one of the most dominant regular season teams ever in history. Their one problem was always the Miami Dolphins. In division, things get trickier. We know that. Usually home dogs in division is the best bet you can possibly place. If this game was in Miami, I'd feel a little bit differently, but it's not. It's in Buffalo. The Bills are on fire. The offense is humming. James Cook, after getting that contract, he looks better than ever in the first couple of weeks of action. Not to mention James Cook against the Dolphins in his career. He had 3 first-half touchdowns a year ago against the Dolphins. So I'm looking at the Bills as huge favorites tonight. Let's get to some of these texts that have come in. Well, on YouTube first, Trey, our buddy, FedEx Trey, is that right? Or is it UPS? I never remember.
FedEx
Trey. FedEx Trey needed one more strike from Nick Pivetta last night. Just one more strike, not even a strikeout. What did we need? I know he didn't get it for us.
Yeah, we needed we avoided him in long shots because I was
That's
nervous
right.
about Nick Pivetta.
But long shots didn't go too good anyways. Trey also saying Seahawks or Bucks for our survivor pick. Tyler saying I'm leaning Bucks. Thanks for the input, boys. 858 on the text line. Just pick Seattle. Don't overthink it. At home versus the Saints. 858. Best burger I've ever had in LA was at the Apple Pan. Highly recommend.
That's fantastic.
I've never been there. Marsh, have you been there? Can't hear you, Marsh. 619. Tommy's is mid at best. Just closed last location in SD not long ago. Look, just telling you from what I remember. Maybe it was Steve Hartman hyping it up. Maybe it was Steve telling me everything about it and the history of it. It was a pretty damn good burger.
Well, also, Fletch, your question was what's the best fast food burger?
Correct.
So I didn't know we were doing like burger places. I thought it was like we're talking like In-N-Out, Burger King, McDonald's, stuff like that.
No, yeah, fast food burger, and the answer is In-N-Out with Wendy's as a close second. But
Wendy's got a good burger. Wendy's doesn't get enough love.
Dude, the square burger works for Wendy's. That little redheaded lady in pigtails, she makes a damn good burger. I tell you what. And if there's a Frosty on the side, I got no problems with that. Everything surrounding the burger at Wendy's is better than In-N-Out. The In-N-Out burger itself is just the best burger you can get at a fast food restaurant. And then 858 with an interesting question. Look, the Padres are down 6-1 right now. We're not really focusing on them a ton, but I think this is an interesting question from the 858. Should the Padres just tank and lose the rest of their games to get the 6th seed? I would rather play LA than Chicago. That from the 858. Now you think about this. The Dodgers are starting to play better. They beat the Phillies last night, right, Sammy?
Yep.
Okay, so the Dodgers are starting to play a little bit better. The power appears to be coming. Mookie Betts is back to being able to hit a baseball. But in a 3-game series in LA, it's at least something to think about because the Padres bullpen is awful. God awful.
I understand that sentiment, and I would have been probably more open to that a week or two ago when the Dodgers bullpen's atrocious.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem for the Dodgers.
You see Tanner Scott as a headline story across all of Major League Baseball right now?
I mean, you look at they brought in the big offseason signings was Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott, and they both have been massively bad for the bullpen, especially Kirby Yates. Now, the problem, did you see the Blake Snell clip where Vesey was coming in? He shook his head and he went 7 innings last night, 12 strikeouts.
Because Blake Snell knows if he gives the game up to the bullpen's going to lose it.
Exactly. The problem where the Padres face with the Dodgers is, and it would be better to get them in a short series, is because now the starting pitchers for the Dodgers are giving you crazy length. Like Blake Snell's going 7 innings, Glasnow, Yamamoto. The starting rotation's fantastic. It's the best in the league in all of baseball. It's funny how it flipped for the Dodgers last year. They had this great bullpen last year, and the starting rotation was awful. Now the starting rotation's fantastic, and the bullpen's bad. But if you were to get them, it would be in a short series. because I guess you wouldn't worry about the Padres bullpen being taxed as much because over a 7-game series, the Padres starting pitching has given you nothing to think that they could go up there against LA and go up against those starting pitching staffs. But then on the flip side, you look at it and go, well, the Dodgers in a 3-game series could probably deploy some of their starting pitching in the bullpen. I think Chicago, there's a shot because Chicago, it's all about hitting. And even though the Padres haven't been hitting well, their bullpen is not great, even though they would have the starting pitching advantage, Matthew Boyd and Shota Imanaga. The Cubs, there's some young players on that team, Pete Crow Armstrong. You wonder how they're going to perform in the postseason. But that series, if the Padres play the Cubs, that series completely comes down to who's going to play better. If Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis step up and play like they can be, they'll beat the Cubs. If they play like they've been playing, I know Machado last night at the Grand Slam, but over the last month, they got no shot.
All right. Well, I mentioned Tanner Scott as a headline story across all of Major League Baseball right now. The reason is because of that contract he signed this past offseason, 4-year, $72 million deal. Even the Yankees owner, Hal Steinbrenner, is saying, yeah, it's difficult for the rest of us to do what the Dodgers are doing right now. The Yankees have the biggest valuation of any team in Major League Baseball, and you got the Yankees owner complaining about the money that the Dodgers are spending. And at least Jeff Passan, according to an article he wrote in ESPN earlier this morning, a big, long article about the potential for a future salary cap, which has been a bad word in baseball for all these years, is saying that the Tanner Scott contract that he signed might be the tipping point for baseball to actually adopt a salary cap. We'll see what happens. This is also probably going to lead to a bit of a shutout.
Because of the inflation of the contract?
Yeah, it's 4 years, $72 million for a guy who probably doesn't deserve half of that. So it's a little bit like the Dodgers and what they've been able to do with Shohei Ohtani. Not saying that the Tanner Scott contract alone would do that, but that just might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And so potentially you're looking at entire league sweeping regulations because of what the Dodgers have done with paying their contracts.
Right, because if you had a salary cap, I mean, there's no reason the sport shouldn't have a salary cap. It's ridiculous. The NBA has a salary cap, the NFL has a salary cap. Everyone has a salary cap except the MLB. Now, I think people blame the wrong, like, to be fair, people want to put the Dodgers as
everyone could do this.
Everyone could, but my problem more is that some of the players hide behind the fact of, we want an even playing field. But yet again, we want average players signing massive contracts because a lot of this is the MLB Players Association that doesn't want limit on contracts. There needs to be a salary cap.
Players do not want salary cap. Players don't want, they want to just make sure whatever is good for them is good for them.
That's what I'm saying, where it's like some people point to the Dodgers, and yes, the Dodgers exploit this because they have the money. And it's ironic the Yankees, though, because the Yankees do the exact same thing the Dodgers do. It's like it's a whole systemic foundation. It's like why the players, they're like, we want it to be fair, but at the same time, you're like, do you want to give up a half of your contract? Because that's what you would be like. Tanner Scott would not be signing for anywhere near this. And if there was a salary cap, you see the Dodgers being hurt by some of these inflated contracts. Tanner Scott, that would be bad on the books. Kirby Yates, some of these guys, you couldn't just, Michael Conforto making $17 million. I mean, this would massively hurt the Dodgers. Of course, there should be a salary cap, but it's kind of on the players as well to make that happen. I don't think they're going to.
619 text in response to that text from the 858 saying, should the Padres just tank to take on the Dodgers in the first round of the postseason? 619 says, what difference does it make? This Padres team is going to go out in the first round. Well, it's about setting yourself up for the best first round matchup, 619, and I don't really know what it is at this point. I'm a little nervous about them going on the road, period, seeing what they've done against the Mets this past week. All right, take a quick break here. Long shots on the other side. We got football tonight, which I think is a breath of fresh air for long shots. We need a winner. Sammy's going to give it to us next on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Coming up tonight on San Diego Sports 760, it is the Sean Lewis Coaches Show at 6 o'clock. John Schaefer, Rich Ornberger sitting down with the head coach, Sean Lewis of the San Diego State Aztecs, previewing Saturday's game versus Cal and more. The Sean Lewis Coaches Show tonight, 6 o'clock, right here on your home for the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. Sammy, I know you don't like looking in the rearview mirror, but you want to reset what happened yesterday on long shots and why we don't have money in our bank accounts?
Are you trying to discredit this?
No, not at all. Just making sure we're open and honest and, transparent.
Unfortunately, Blake Snell was the only guy who came through for us. Blake Snell hit us over on strikeouts. We felt good about that. Jesus Luzardo, I thought was going to get pulled early considering the Phillies had gone deep with their pitcher, the Ranger Suarez, the night before. That did not happen. He went 21 innings, and Jack Flaherty, despite having a really good performance, only got 4 strikeouts. We needed 6. That damn Jack Flaherty and Jesus Luzardo, man.
I feel like Jack Flaherty needs to get the ban. I feel like he has not been kind to long shots once.
Yeah, because I bet his under and then he hit the over, and then I bet his over and he's hit the under. So I think Jack Flaherty, we've had a very love-hate relationship with Jack Flaherty.
We might be done with him. Now, tonight we do have a Thursday night football game, which is always good for long shots when we get a standalone. And the YouTube chat is calling for Tua interception on long shots. Sammy, what do you think about that one?
So I was going to talk about this. Interception. I don't like interception props in quarterbacks. I don't like betting that because it's too fluky. Like you just don't know what's going to happen, and it's too tip drill. That feels a little bit baiting. I'm not against the text line. Got FedEx Trey there. We got Tyler all feeling it. If you guys want to add that, add it. It is not a part of my long shots, though. I'm a little hesitant on a Tua Tagovailoa interception.
Big Marsh on the mic.
This feels like one of those games that Buffalo's supposed to dominate, and then here comes Miami, and Tua has 5 touchdowns, and they beat the Bills. It feels
I
like
agree.
one of those
I
games. Agree.
It's like I agree with Marshall. I don't know that Miami's going to win, but this does feel like Buffalo. Everyone's like, this is not even going to be close. Interception props, things like this. I think it's going to be a much closer game than the spread is telling you, but I do think Buffalo wins.
I did go on record this morning, and I'll tell you all right now what I said. I said if there is going to be one Thursday night football game you skip this year, this is the one because it's over before
Which
it begins.
means it's going to be the best Thursday night game.
Maybe. The NFL likes to just kind of give me the middle finger every once in a while and say, ha, you're stupid, Fletch, take this. But I have never been more confident that the Bills are going to absolutely stomp the Miami Dolphins. But you know what? That's what makes sports beautiful. That's why we show up to play the game, right? Big Marsh, if you will, please smash that button.
Let's see. Underdogs? Nah, that's old. Those with a less than good chance of winning? Too wordy. Wait, he's all big time now, huh? It's time for Sammy's Long Shots. Hold on. Can't talk until I say the important stuff. Long Shots is presented by Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Now, go.
All right. Very excited. Thursday night football. We love betting on football, but baseball's too crazy. Baseball, we don't know. It's like guys are taking nights off. It's frustrating. With postseason will be here, we'll be locks for the MLB. But tonight, Buffalo, Miami. So we're gonna start with the Buffalo side. James Cook, more than 15 rush attempts. We're gonna stay away from yardage. James Cook, I know he gets a lot out of the backfield here, but James Cook, the spread is telling you that they think Buffalo is going to dominate this game. I think it's going to be much closer than that, but I do see the Bills pulling away, and we're assuming they're playing with a lead. We're going to go more than 15 rush attempts for James Cook. They didn't pay him for nothing. Okay, he's got that 4-year contract, a shiny new toy. You got to show James Cook out. He's a fantastic player, one of the best running backs in the league. I think he's pretty underrated, actually, how talented he is out of the backfield catching the ball. But I think they're going to use him more as a rusher tonight if they have a lead in this, try to milk the clock so that Miami offense can't get going. James Cook, more than 15 rush attempts for Buffalo. Let's go to the other side. Devon A-Chain, more than 97.5 rush and receiving yards. Ed Oliver and Matt Milano out for this game for Buffalo. That means the middle of their defense is gone. Now, Devon A-Chain is not a power rusher. He's not really a up the middle rusher. He's more side to side. But I think they try to establish the run game, especially early. And then if they're playing from behind, I think we're going to see some dump offs, some easy completions for Tua. He's been missing guys downfield the first 2 weeks. Greg Cosell did a fantastic job of highlighting. He's had some pretty bad misses on some wide open guys if you go watch that tape. I think Devon A-Chain gets some easy completions out of the backfield, especially with Matt Milano not being there, their star linebacker to cover him. I think he could wiggle out and have a pretty big game. Devon A-Chain, more than 97.5 rush and receiving yards, and especially if the Bills are winning, this even favors more into our hands. That's why we're adding the receiving aspect to this. And then we're going to go Tyreek Hill. more than 5.5 receptions, and I'm gonna tell you why. Tyreek Hill has not looked very good, not looked very happy the first 2 weeks. Okay, you see him; he was losing his mind on the sideline in week 1. There's a lot of trade rumors going on. Jalen Waddle is questionable for this game. Will he? Won't he play? Even if he does play, he's not going to be at the full extent to which he is. Tyreek Hill, more than 5.5 receptions. If you're Miami, you want to keep him happy. You got to get the over on this. Make sure he's involved early. And then on the other side, if you're going to trade Tyreek Hill, don't you want to show he still has it? He has a down year last year. Did not have 1,000 yards receiving. A lot of that had to do with the fact that Tua Tagovailoa was not there. But you want to up his trade value, right? Especially him being 32. You wonder, the speed's still there, but does he still have it? I think a national game, if Miami does lose this, which Vegas is telling you they will, I think they're going to try to get the ball in Tyreek's hands and maybe flip him to a team in the next couple weeks. So to recap, James Cook, more than 15 rush attempts for Buffalo. Devon Achane, more than 97.5 rush and reception yards. And Tyreek Hill, more than 5.5 receptions on the game.
Can I veto one?
No, it's my long shots. What's your veto?
It's Tyreek Hill.
Why? What's wrong with Tyreek Hill?
I don't think he gets close to that number.
Why?
He's not very good
Tre'Davious
anymore, man. He's not good with the Dolphins this year.
But you don't think that they're not going to try to up his trade value and get him the ball early in this game?
That's the only argument that would make sense for this.
Especially with Waddle maybe not playing, being injured?
It sounds like he's going to play, latest reports. I don't know, man. I just don't have a good feeling about it.
Thanks for the positivity today.
I have all the faith in Sammy in the world. But
okay, you know what? You know what we'll do? I'll go less on this. If you want to go less on this, we'll go it. No, but I swear,
it just feels
if Tyreek comes in over, I am going to come in. I am going to be so pissed off tomorrow.
I'm just staying away from it. I'm adding Tua Tagovailoa passing yards. That's what I like better.
Wait, hold on. You like Tua Tagovailoa passing yards, the guy who has not been accurate at all for the last 2 weeks, but you don't want the best player on the team for the Miami Dolphins to get more than 5.5 receptions?
But it's discounted down to 212.5.
We don't do discounts here
gonna
on
get
long
that.
shots. We don't do discounts.
So you're thinking Devon Achane is going to have 5 or 6 catches. He's going to get up over 97.5, but Tyreek Hill is also going to get 6.5 or what? Like 120, 130?
No,
so
5.5. We need 6.
I just don't like it. Big Marsh.
Well, I looked at the receiving targets. The last 2 games, he had 6 against Indy and 7 against New England. So maybe go less than 8 receiving targets for Tyreek instead of the completions. They throw it to him at least 8 or less than 8 times.
Sammy?
You want to go less on targets? My only problem with that, Marshall, and I get it, is that, again, they're going to be playing from behind. So I think the targets would be an easy over. They're going to be throwing the ball left and right.
Look, I'm all for faith in Sammy. I'm just going to leave that one off.
So it doesn't really sound like you have faith in Sammy.
No, I like the rest of your picks a lot, but I'm just going to, instead of that, I'm going to add Tua.
This is my lineup.
This is your lineup.
Tyreek Hill.
Recap it.
More than 5.5 receptions, because Fletch tried to confuse everybody. More than 5.5 receptions for Tyreek Hill. Devon Achane, more than 97.5 rush and receiving yards for Miami. James Cook, more than 15 rush attempts for Buffalo. Take it to the bank.
That's Sammy's. YouTube is saying Minkah Fitzpatrick over 6.5 tackles plus assisted. I did add that to mine. I like that one. YouTube is also saying Tua Tagovailoa interception. I'm saying Tua Tagovailoa over 212.5 passing yards. That feels good to me. But if you want Sammy's, take Sammy's.
Well, you can't give a pick that's a discount and then act like that's your selection.
Well, no, it's Prize Picks helping us out. By the way, promo code Fletch going to get you $50 in entries after you play your first $5
Hey,
entry.
I'm going to take all the discounts, and that's going to be my parlay.
Yeah.
That's
not
okay. You can't do a betting segment and take all the discounts.
Well, you can't stack them either. So just
exactly. Everyone could go on here and do that.
All right, just saying. I'd feel remiss if I didn't.
Ride with Sammy. Tyreek Hill is going to come through for us tonight.
I hope he does. I really do. Rich jumping in on YouTube saying never bet on Flaherty again. He hasn't come through once for us this year.
Yeah, Jack Flaherty's done with the program.
All right, take a quick break. Hour number 2 coming up next. Coach Kentera is going to jump on. The Padres game may be wrapped up by the time he gets here. I have a feeling Coach is going to have some big thoughts about what the Padres have done the last couple of days in New York. We'll get to that in hour 2 at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. It's Fletch for Gary Cooper over at Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty. Follow him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com or give him a call today at 858-376-1299. Gary Cooper, what do you have for us today?
Carla is one of my clients who is a Poway school teacher, and she just applied and was granted a $40,000 grant for down payment and closing cost. So I pulled up the requirements, and teacher must be a certified educator, must be employed by either the San Diego Unified School District or Poway Unified School District. Household income must be under 160% of the area median income, so call me for details. First-time home buyer, applicants must be first-time home buyers, and all they require is that you're required to complete a financial counseling and education course. And that's it. And it's not a payback. You can buy anywhere in San Diego County. So give me a call. I'll give you all the details if you're a teacher. But $40,000 to help you with your down payment and closing costs, and I can help you find the house.
$40,000 off. That sounds too good to be true. Give Gary Cooper a call today, 858-376-1299, or visit him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com.
This sports sponsored by King's Hawaiian Sliders. The Padres lose 6-1 today to the New York Mets. Randy Vasquez a pretty tough outing, giving up 4 earned runs. Padres will be back tomorrow night, taking on the White Sox. And Thursday Night Football, Bills hosting the Miami Dolphins. Currently, Miami's a 11.5-point underdog in this game. The total opened at 48.5 has been bet all the way up to 50.5. Eli Manning reminds you there's nothing like football and King's Hawaiian Sliders. There's something about those soft, fluffy, irresistible King's Hawaiian Sliders that make them a winner on game day. Pick them up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your grocery store. King's Hawaiian. There's nothing like it.
San Diego Sports 760. It's hour number 2 here on the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John and Jim will take over then. And we got the coach coming up in about 30 minutes. Coach John Kentera is going to be joining us. Padres have gone final. They lose 6-1 to the New York Mets in New York. So the Mets take the series 2-1. And I do feel like after last night, you come away with a little bit of a positive feeling. Manny hits a grand slam. He's had 3 home runs in his last 5 games. You're starting to feel a little bit better. But then you take a deeper look at what actually happened last night. And what actually happened last night was Manny Machado bailed the Padres out. With the one swing of the bat, he got back 4 runs on the Mets, who were hitting a ton of home runs last night, off of Nick Pivetta, who is supposed to be your ace heading into the postseason. Padres road struggles against good teams has been a theme of this season. Well, they're going to go on the road in round 1. They're going to most likely play against the Chicago Cubs, who are a solid team top to bottom. And you're going to have to overcome those road struggles. Because guess what? Not every postseason game is able to be played at Petco Park. And none of them in the first round will be. So, little worrisome. 9 games left in the season now? 3 series left. What can you do to try to get some momentum back before you head into the postseason? Most likely at Wrigley Field, to try to take one from the Cubs on the road. Excuse me. It's going to be tricky. And I don't see a whole lot of hope at this point. But that's what's cool about baseball. You're only as good as your next day's starting pitcher. Isn't that the line, Sammy?
Well, if it's the Padres case, I hope that that's not the phrase. Because starting pitching staff is, I mean, let's just speak it like it is. It's pretty bad. I mean, this starting pitching staff, I don't know where it would rank in the entire playoff field. It certainly would not be high. It'd be one of the worst. And the calling cards, obviously, we've been talking about it ad nauseum all year. It's the bullpen. That's what, if the Padres were able to make a run, it would be because the bullpen, the bats woke up. This was a major misstep for the Padres. This was a real opportunity after the only team that they have played well against in the past 3 weeks is the Rockies. That's the only team that the bats wake up and they're there for. And I get it. Last night, Machado was fantastic with the grand slam, but we can't just have a day every now and then where the stars decide to show up. They have to show up night in, night out. And it's going to be more of the same. I'm sure they'll go sweep the White Sox and everyone will come in on Monday and go, hey, they got a sweep. Except the Rockies and the White Sox are not how you're playing in the postseason. And the Mets were a team that were 2-10 in their last 12 games before getting into the series. And the Mets get right. I know they got right on Sunday with the home run, the Pete Alonso walk-off, but they get right against the Padres, a team that the Padres were hoping going to be able to kind of cement who they are and kind of remind people of why people were so scared of them getting in the postseason. And yeah, it's not to say they can't do anything. It's not to say, obviously, we've seen teams get hot and the Diamondbacks and everything kind of coming into the postseason, except it's hard to flip that. Usually when that happens, it's because a team gets hot leading in the postseason and they barely make it in and they go. It's not usually that a team is completely faltering and limping to the finish line, and then to expect that they're randomly going to gonna just flip it on against the Cubs and then go beat the Phillies and the Dodgers. Hey, maybe it happens, but it's just they're not giving us a lot of evidence right now to support that would be the case.
Hope as a strategy is a tough one, but yeah, you're right. White Sox next, Brewers after that, and then the D-backs to finish out the season. Mike Schilt is talking to the media now. I'm sure you will hear the whole thing on John and Jim. The worry we have now is last week we talked about potentially Randy Vasquez sneaking in a start in the postseason. Randy Vasquez was awful today, gives up 4 runs in the first 3 innings, can't make it out of the 3rd inning. Bullpen gives up the rest. So bleak days as of right now. But you got a shot at the postseason, and then hope is your strategy, and hopefully it works out for the Padres. Let's get to the big 3 of hour number 2. Kentera coming up at 1:30. Aztec tickets on the line this hour. Big Marsh on the mic. If you will, smash that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
There's an 858 number adamantly defending Sammy on the text line, saying, Sammy, don't listen to anyone. This is your long shots. This is Sammy's long shots.
That's right, 858.
And you are right, 858. Maybe I overstepped a little bit. I just want to make sure my feelings are heard too.
Shout out to the 858.
Faith in Sammy, I live by that motto a lot of the time. I'm just not going to live with it tonight.
858's riding with this. I hope you all are too.
I hope you're right. I hope Tyreek Hill goes off, has a great game. I just think sometimes maybe Sammy goes with his heart a little bit more than his brain.
I never go with my heart and betting, ever.
So you're saying you don't want Tyreek Hill?
Real quick, we're getting to the big 3.
No, real quick. You don't want Tyreek Hill to show out tonight so that the Chiefs have a better option at wide receiver?
In fact, are you kidding me? If it was about the Chiefs getting Tyreek Hill, it would be better if he played awful to where the trade value would come down. Tyreek Hill talked tons of crap about the Chiefs when he left. This is not a homer pick at all. Why would I take James Cook over on rushing yards if this is about a homer pick? I don't homer pick when I bet. Fletch is the same guy that goes, I don't want to bet Stuart Skinner because his beard. Okay, that's
it was mustache and you know it.
All right, let's take with the Padres. We got it's obviously series wrapped up, not what we wanted to see. Randy Vasquez gets roughed up. Michael King gets roughed up on Monday. Who is the number 2 pitcher for the postseason? It's got to be Nick Pivetta at the 1. Who has shown you that are you still riding with Michael King despite the bad performance?
I don't think you have to right now. Look, Nick Pivetta got roughed up last night too. It was just overcome by a Padres offense, and that was good to see Padres offense come to life. But you want to see Nick Pivetta with some dominant starts here down the stretch. Nick Pivetta is obviously the 1 still. I think Michael King is the 2. Depending on how his next couple starts look. Now, it's not going to be against great competition. He'll face the White Sox and then the Diamondbacks. I think that's how it sets up. Or maybe it's, I think it will be
the White Sox and the Diamondbacks, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be how Michael King finishes up his year. And hopefully you see 2 good starts from him, and then you feel okay putting him in that number 2 spot. But then number 3 is the bigger question mark. I think Yu Darvish, Dylan Cease, Randy Vasquez, take your pick. The hope was that Dylan Cease would be the Dylan Cease that we've grown to see over the beginning of his career. He just hasn't been that guy this year. So if Dylan Cease can somehow find some magic in one postseason start, and that's good enough, great. But you don't feel good about it by any stretch of the imagination. To be fair, you don't feel good. You don't feel great about any of the Padres starters. You feel kind of good about Nick Pivetta.
I think that's very fair. Nick Pivetta has been the guy who has been the most consistent all season. Now, I think if you would have told Padre fans that Nick Pivetta is going to be the ace heading into the postseason before the season, they wouldn't feel too good. Now, to give Nick Pivetta some love.
To put it into context, he was supposed to be the 4th starter on this team.
He was supposed to be. And he has outperformed that. To be fair to him, Nick Pivetta has been good. But it's hard to pick a team when you could pick the team if the bullpen, which we know is locks, and the bats were unreal, and you go, we have one starting pitcher we trust. We just got to get to the 4th, 5th inning. That was the dream that AJ Preller had when he went and got Mason Miller. And unfortunately, with the Jason Adam injury, the bullpen's still been great, but Morejon struggled a little bit recently. Estrada struggled a little bit recently, and the bats haven't been there. So you're looking at starting rotation, and there's no one you can trust. Nestor Cortez has shown nothing why he should be out there. Yu Darvish, based on name, Yu Darvish and Dylan Cease have the same problem. The second time through the order, they get touched up. The first 3 innings are fantastic. I think you trust them because of the name. Michael King has the stuff, but we saw on Monday, if that's happening against the Mets, what's going to happen against the Phillies? And we're not going to really know. I think that last Diamondback start for Michael King is going to be very telling to whether you can trust him or not. But we'll see. Padres' starting pitching situation obviously is not where we'd like to see it. Okay, let's go to the Heisman Trophy race. So Arch Manning, who started out as a plus 650 favorite, one of the largest Heisman favorites in recent memory, has dropped all the way to plus 2,500 through the first 3 weeks of the season. Quarterback John Mateer from Oklahoma is the favorite at plus 850, followed by Carson Beck from Miami at plus 900. Is there anyone on this list, Fletch, and I can go first if you need time to look, that you think is a long shot to possibly win the Heisman that you think could? And what is your reaction to Arch Manning falling off the face of the earth in terms of Heisman odds?
I think Arch Manning would be the long shot to pick. Look, if he turns it around and has a great last 3 quarters of his season, his first season as a full-time starter, I think based on name brand, he could still wind up getting there. But look, John Mateer's started off the season incredible. Carson Beck and Miami are really humming. It looks like Miami's coming back to prominence. The Georgia kid's fantastic. Stockton? What's his first name? He has a
Gunnar
cool
Stockton.
Gunnar Stockton. Oh man, when they get into look, if they would have lost to Tennessee, it'd be a different story. But they beat Tennessee, and the way Georgia can just dominate you, mostly on the ground. But Gunnar Stockton's part of that too. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I like Mateer's obviously been fantastic at Oklahoma. I think Dante Moore was a guy who was totally forgot about for Oregon that has been fantastic for them. Now, they haven't played the level of competition yet to really garner much attention, but he is number 3. Marcel Reed just went on the road, beat Notre Dame. I know his accuracy numbers have not been there, but at plus 1,800, Marcel Reed's a fantastic player. He's got a lot of value. Devin Dampier from Utah, he transferred from New Mexico. He lit up UCLA in his first game. Now UCLA is awful, and they're 0-3 and just fired their head coach. But Devin Dampier is really good there. I think he could be a guy that people, if they beat Texas Tech this weekend, 16 facing 17, he could he could shoot up Heisman odds. And then Maeva from SC, they haven't played anybody yet, but SC has led the nation in scoring through the first couple weeks there. If they do it against Michigan State and then Illinois next week, Maeva could shoot up boards there as well.
I got one more name to watch out for, and it's only if something happens off the field. But Vanderbilt off to a 3-0 start. Diego Pavia. If he ends up actually dating Tate McRae, he's got to win some sort of trophy.
I think he's winning off the field. I don't think he needs to win a trophy then.
If he actually ends up dating Tate McRae and he goes to the Heisman committee and says, hey, I could probably get my boo to come perform at the Heisman ceremony, maybe that helps him out a little bit. I'm telling you, I know 2 Heisman voters now in my life, John Schaefer and Steve Hartman. One of them cannot be swayed. His name is John Schaefer.
Yeah, Schaefer's not, but Schaefer doesn't even know who Tate McRae is.
Yeah, Steve Hartman does. I can almost promise you that.
Steve Hartman definitely knows who Tate McRae
We'll talk to him about it tomorrow, see if that can sway his vote a little bit. You got one more, Sammy?
Looking into the NFL slate this weekend, what is a game that you think the spread is a little too wide? We could be seeing an upset in the NFL.
Why don't you go ahead? Let me take a look at the odds.
Okay, I like the Rams to beat Philly through 3.5. I think there's been a lot going on back and forth this week following that Chiefs game. Jordan Mailata going out on the radio station in Philly there talking about how it's BS. People are talking about it. Everyone's talking about the tush push. I think the Rams getting 3.5 points. I really like that even on the road in Philly. And I'm curious to see what happens with the tush push this week because they're going to run it. There's been a lot made about the right guard and the left guard moving, and Jason Kelsey just said as of a minute ago that he predicts this will be the last year the tush push is allowed. That Chiefs game might have gotten a ban by seeing how misofficiated it was. And there's a lot surrounding the Eagles and against the Rams. This is a team that last year almost beat them on their road to the Super Bowl. They demolished the Chiefs. They demolished the Commanders. But the Rams were almost there. And had Jalen Carter not gotten that sack, they might have went into Philadelphia through all the snow and won. I think the Rams get a big W there. And Jalen Hurts going to have to throw the ball in this one, and they have not shown that they can do that so far through the first 2 weeks.
I'm going to make a comparison here that might be kind of crazy. I think Daniel Jones, who has gotten this new nickname of Indiana Jones, I'm going to call him Cinderella instead, and I think that the Colts turn back into the pumpkin this weekend. I am going to predict that the Titans and Cam Ward get their first win of the year over the Indianapolis Colts. It's in Tennessee. Ooh. The Titans were home last week against the Rams, and remember week 1, the Titans almost beat the Broncos. Give me the Titans to pull the upset. I think it's a 4.5-point spread in favor of Indianapolis. Daniel Jones is going to have a couple interceptions in this game. Cam Ward's going to look really good. Titans win.
I like that.
I like it.
I think Cam Ward's close to getting a signature win. We look back at that Bronco game. There were some misses there. His receivers really did not help him out. If you look at the stats, you go that touchdown he had against the Colts last week was fantastic. You saw the talent off the charts, but I like the Titans pick there.
And let's talk about the Colts because we all thought coming into the season they were a little bit of a joke. Now all of a sudden they have all this street cred because they beat the Broncos, who, let's be honest, the Broncos haven't looked good in either week, and then they get a win last week over who were the Colts playing last week?
They beat the Broncos.
They beat the Broncos a week ago. Who were they playing in week 1?
Damn. They beat the Dolphins.
Dolphins, that's right, who are terrible. So, I don't know. Just I'm liking the Colts to get upset here. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Quick break here. We got Aztec tickets coming up for you before 1:30, so keep listening. And Coach John Kentera is coming up at 1:30. It's San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760 congratulates all of our $5,000 winners in iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. There's still time for you to nominate a public school teacher making a difference, and maybe they'll be one of our next winners of $5,000 to make over their classroom. Help us say thank you to the educators that are shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. All right, Thursday Night Football tonight. We got the Dolphins, we got the Bills in Orchard Park, which is where the Buffalo Bills play their home games. Tables will be broken. Tables will be lit on fire. I do believe we see a couple of colorful coffee mugs, if you know what I'm saying, Sammy Long, being thrown out onto the field today because, little known fact, it started in Buffalo before it made its way to the WNBA, before it made its way back to the NFL. So maybe the line on
Coffee
that one's 1.5 coffee mugs thrown on the field tonight. I bet you that's a pretty good number. I would take the over.
I wish Prize Picks would take action on that.
I'm sure there's a website that does. You just got to get creative in finding it. How many coffee mugs get thrown on the field tonight, and what color will they be? I got neon green, 1.5 over.
Problem is, neon green is going to be hard to get into the stadium.
No, you can get creative,
you have a
Sammy.
neon green coffee mug. I don't understand. That's going to, especially it's at night. That thing might light up in the dark.
You can get creative, Sammy.
Bet you can, Fletch.
You can. I mean, I wouldn't, but you can. All right, let's talk about the game itself. Tua Tagovailoa, look, he signed the big contract after the 2024 season, the end of the 2020. So not last year's, the year before, the 23-24 season. Signed the big contract. It was a 4-year deal. A lot of us, myself, Sammy, I'm sure you did too, thought that was too much money to be giving to Tua Tagovailoa in probably too many years. But that's the quarterback market, and it is the way it is. Now, the only thing worse than paying a contract to a quarterback that probably doesn't deserve the contract is keeping it going with the same guy. And teams, this is how they get into hell. This is the worry for a lot of San Francisco 49ers fans. This has been the worry of a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans. Any quarterback hell controversy comes from the start of paying a guy a lot of money. Tua is paid a lot of money. Tua has not earned that contract yet. And tonight, maybe not the tipping point, but this season I do feel like is the tipping point because they'll have 2 years left on the deal after this year. But is there a chance that if things continue the way it started for the Miami Dolphins this year, that Tua is no longer a starter in this league come next season?
I think so. Now, I think the Dolphins will definitely be moving on because if the Dolphins season continues like this, I bet they trade Waddle, they trade Tyreek, and they get rid of Tua and they try to redo this whole thing, especially considering how bad the defense is. Now, I think Tua, I was thinking about this question because it's like, is Tua considered a bust? Because you think of bust, you think of like Josh Rosen. You think of guys like Jamarcus Russell who like cannot play and they were awful.
When I hear bust, I think of a guy that doesn't get to a second contract. Now, Tua is still in his first big contract. So he had his rookie deal and then he signed the one big contract. I think about guys who can't get to that second contract. So yeah, he fits in the bust category for me.
Because it's odd, like when you think of a bust in the NFL, like he's had big games. He's made a playoff game. They went to Kansas City and that was this crazy, it was like minus 23 wind chill or something like that. And
first ever Peacock standalone game.
First ever Peacock standalone game. And he's had the massive injury histories. He's had that, remember that crazy game against Baltimore? He threw like 6 touchdowns and 600 yards, things like that. Like he has talent. So I do think he would get a shot with someone else because I think any team would take Tua Tagovailoa as a backup because, the guy could come in and he would have been the number 1 overall pick over Burrow had he not gotten hurt at Tuscaloosa in Alabama the year before. This guy can play, but I do think if you're Miami, if you're getting rid of Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer, whoever's the new GM head coach is going to want their quarterback. And considering the quarterback class next year, Arch was projected number 1 pick. He hasn't lived up to that so far, but there's still a lot of season left to go. You got Carson Beck there. You got Levitt from Arizona State. There's a lot of dudes who are going to be able to come play. And there might be 6 or 7 guys taking the first round of the draft next year. I certainly think Tua would be out and be looking for a new job somewhere.
Man, next year he's making $47 million. And then after next season, the Dolphins have an out in the contract. They would just have to take on $35 million worth of dead cap space. But the Dolphins could move on as early as the end of the 2026 season.
And I know like with the Dolphins, I don't even fault them for like what they did. They paid their quarterback huge money, a B-level quarterback.
You got to do it.
Right. They traded for Tyreek Hill. They paid Jalen Waddle. That's not how you typically build a team. What we've seen recently is that you go by receivers and quarterback. But then again, I can't fault them for it because Miami had been so irrelevant in that division for so long since the 90s. They had to do something. We finally talk about the Miami Dolphins the last couple of years. But yeah, this does feel this game tonight. If they win tonight, they could turn their season around. If they lose tonight, which Vegas is telling you they're going to, and especially if they get blown out tonight, I think we're going to see wholesale changes, including Tua.
Yeah, it's going to get rough for the Miami Dolphins. I know 615, if you're listening, I'm sorry, pal, Budweiser Scott, but the Dolphins are in a rough spot, and we'll see if they can make something happen tonight. Just make it interesting. That's all I would be asking for. I know that's what Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit are asking for. All right, quick break here. We got Coach Kentera coming up next. Before we get to the coach, let's give away some Aztecs football tickets. They're playing against Cal this Saturday night, 7:30 kickoff, 5:30 pregame coverage. You'll hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760, but if you want to go to the game, give Big Marsh a call, 877-767-4760. Let's go with caller number 7. You're going to the Aztecs game coming up on Saturday night. Coach Kentera next at San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by Lexus El Cajon. Bring luxury home. The Padres lost to the Mets today, 6-1. They'll be back tomorrow night against the Chicago White Sox. And from the Dodgers up the road, Clayton Kershaw announced today he'll be holding a press conference today at 5:00. He will be retiring at the end of the season. And Thursday Night Football, Dolphins going to Buffalo, take on the Bills. Bills currently 11.5-point favorites. This fall, discover why Lexus El Cajon is #1 for customer service with unbeatable offers on new and pre-owned Lexus models in stock. You got to visit LexusElCajon.com today. Bring luxury home from Lexus El Cajon.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John and Jim will take over then. Some breaking news coming out of the world of Major League Baseball. One of the greatest regular season pitchers of all time, Clayton Kershaw, has announced his retirement. And guess who had the story first? Adam Schefter. Who would have thought? Football guy. Getting into golf, getting into baseball now.
I think our sister station 570 had that first, but yeah.
Oh, did they? Who had it? Petros?
I think Vassay had it.
Oh, Vassay, that sneaky man. All right, we got one of the greatest to ever do it here in San Diego, in all of radio. The coach, John Kentera, joining the show here on San Diego Sports 760. Coach, how are you today? It's great to hear from you.
Well, I'd be doing better if the Padres could have won a ball game today. Now we got to sit around tonight and wait and see what the Dodgers do against the Giants. But I'll tell you what, Padres running out of gas right now, dropping 2 out of 3 there against the New York Mets. And you mentioned Dave Vassay, good guy. Dave's been doing the Dodger stuff for a long time. Good guy. And you know what? Maybe if Schefter was getting credit, maybe Matthew Stafford, who played high school football with Clayton Kershaw, maybe he tipped off Schefter. What do you think about that?
That's good, Coach. I like the conspiracy theories. I always have. But yeah, I saw the tweet from Schefter. But Sammy, I guess he's at AM 570 right now up in LA doing the show from there. So maybe he got some insider info from David Vassay. All right, Coach, let's talk about this Padres series. So game 1, disappointing because I think a lot of Padre fans we're looking at as a little bit of an audition for Michael King to see what he would be able to do this postseason helping out the team. Michael King, pretty disappointing on, what day was that? I don't even know what day of the week it is. Monday. And then yesterday, Nick Pivetta wasn't great. And today, pitching woes continued. Coming out of this series, it's kind of hard to think about the Padres rotation, the Padres bullpen heading into the postseason.
Well, obviously, Sammy making that trip up to L.A., he got lost today. They actually started the series on Tuesday. But
way to go,
Tuesday,
Sammy.
Wednesday, Thursday, it's all right, man. You know, the big time change going up that freeway can be difficult and dealing with that hostile environment of Los Angeles. But nonetheless, Michael King, rough night, career high 8 earned runs, career high 4 home runs. In fact, after today's 6-1 loss, Padres gave up 10 home runs in the series to the New York Mets. Today, Padres, 6 hits, 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. Not a good series. And if Machado doesn't hit that grand slam last night, there's probably a pretty good chance that they were going to get beat there. So they're going in against the Chicago White Sox ball club that's not great, but they're still playing hard. In fact, I was reading an article on the White Sox the other day. They've got a bunch of young players that are really playing hard for Will Venable, the former Padre, an all-around good guy. And so this is not going to be 3 easy wins in Chicago. So Padres they're running out of steam a little bit. It looks like in that pitching staff.
Coach, who would be your number 2 starter in the playoffs right now? Is it still Michael King or is it someone else?
Well, we're going to see, Sammy, I think we're going to see Michael King 2 more times, and then I think we'll have a little bit better idea. But you know what? This may sound kind of crazy to the Padre fans because he's had such a disappointing year, but boy, it's hard to overlook Dylan Cease. I mean, on any given day, anything can happen, and that guy's got the best stuff on the entire staff, including Pivetta, who's having a career year. And Pivetta wasn't great last night, but he wasn't awful either. Didn't stick around long enough to qualify for the win last night, but I think right now you'd have to look at Dylan Cease. I mean, again, I think King would probably be the guy to go game 2. But again, you got to see how he performs in the next couple of starts. I certainly don't think Yu Darvish, in my opinion, from what I've seen, I don't think if you had a 3-game wild card playoff, I don't think he's one of your starters. I mean, they may run him out there because he's Yu Darvish, but I haven't seen anything to tell me that he should be a starter in the postseason right now.
Coach John Kentera joining us today on San Diego Sports 760. Coach, you take a look at Manny Machado, and he was in about one of the worst late season slumps of his career not a week and a half ago. But Manny Machado, over his last 6 games, 3 home runs, starting to look a little more confident, swinging the bat, got that off day leading into the day off for the team on Monday. And I'm telling you, Manny Machado, are we trusting this? Do we think he's about to hit one of those Manny stretches where he's terrible for a long time and then all of a sudden really turns it on?
Well, thank God Colorado came to town last weekend. He went 4 for 6 in that series with a couple of bombs, didn't play on Sunday. And he had the home run last night, but prior to that, he had a little scratch infield, hit a swinging bunt up the third baseline, and hit another swinging bunt earlier in the ball game. He got thrown out, and he was 1 for 4 today. I don't know if he's going to get on a hot streak or not, but the Padres. My biggest concern with the Padres is they're not hitting against good pitching. When they're having to face the other team's 1 or 2 guys, they're not doing a whole lot. They're making their stats right now on these back end of the rotation guys and bad bullpens. I mean, heck, I don't know if you saw that Colorado series last weekend where they totally dominated and probably should have won all 4. But at one point in time, I thought the Padres got into a fist fight at the bat rack trying to get to the plate against that Colorado pitching staff.
Coach, so if we're assuming they're going to Wrigley to take on the Cubs, how do you see that matchup playing out? Where do you think the Padres could have an advantage?
Well, they're going to see Boyd and they're going to see Imanaga, and those are 2 good left-handed pitchers. And let's face it, the Padres have not performed real well against left-handers this year. Fernando has really struggled against most left-handed pitching, which is kind of surprising to me. He's starting to show a little bit of signs of coming out of it. I like the way he's approaching his at-bats lately. He didn't have a great August. He got a little bit hot towards the end. Manny had a terrible August. He hit 222, and he's been hitting, up until the last few days, he was hitting well under 200 in the month of September. The Cubs will be tough. They're still trying to get Kyle Tucker back. He's got that calf injury, and those calf injuries can be debilitating and keep you out a lot longer than you would hope. Pete Crow Armstrong has not had a real good second half since the All-Star break, but the Cubs at the friendly confines are a lot different ball club than they are out on the road. So it'll be a very, very tough matchup, I think, for the Padres having to go into Chicago. But with that being said, if the Padres go out there and they get a good pitching performance, I think a lot of their veteran players, I think they're going to get kind of re-energized, a little more adrenaline pumping through their body right now. And I think they can compete with the Cubs. I think, I watched that Phillies series against the Dodgers, and the Dodgers have obviously had all kinds of issues this year. And for them to still be winning this division is kind of, I don't know, for me, I guess I'm a little demoralized being a Padres fan. I mean, because they've pretty much handed the division to the Padres, and the Padres haven't taken it to this point. But I saw a completely different intensity level from the Dodgers and Phillies. Phillies won that series 2-1. Dodgers shut them out last night. But those 2 teams, when they're firing on all cylinders, those 2 teams are going to be very, very difficult to beat. I know Milwaukee's got the best record, but I'm not sure how Milwaukee's going to perform in the playoffs. They got good players. I'm anxious to see how they perform in the playoffs, because a little bit different in the postseason than the regular season. And I think both the Dodgers and the Phillies are pretty battle tested in the postseason over the last several years.
Now, the Padres did no favors to the Diamondbacks, Giants, or Reds, but do you think that there's a chance still that any of those teams can get in over the Mets the way the Mets played against the Padres this week?
Well, I think, the Diamondbacks, they've got an interesting schedule. I don't know who they got this weekend, but I know they still have the Dodgers for 3, and they still have the Padres for 3. They let a game really slip away yesterday.
Diamondbacks got the Phillies, coach.
Okay, well, good luck. That could be an offensive juggernaut over there at Chase Field this weekend. That's going to be very difficult. If they get 2 out of 3, they can stay in it. But that Phillies ball club, they're absolutely loaded. And the other thing about the Phillies, and I'll get back to the Diamondbacks in a minute, they got 3 outstanding left-handed pitchers. I mean, even though Zach Wheeler's out, They got Lazardo, who actually threw a pretty good ball game last night. He got hung with the loss up there against the Dodgers, but they got Christopher Sanchez, who I think is going to get a lot of Cy Young votes. And they got Ranger Suarez, who's had a heck of a year. And, they brought over Duran in the trade with Minnesota at the trading deadline to close out games. That Phillies team, they're tough. Now, as far as the Diamondbacks, Brandon Pfaadt went 9 innings yesterday, gave up 1 hit and got a no decision, and they ended up getting beaten extra innings 5-1 yesterday. So that really hurt. The Giants dropped the first 2. They salvaged that game. I think Arizona, they're still playing hard. The Giants are kind of a hit and miss ball club. They got 4 games this weekend up at Dodger Stadium starting tonight. A great matchup. Yamamoto against Logan Webb. Dodgers hit Logan Webb around pretty good last week when they came back after blowing they had a 4-1 lead and the Giants couldn't hold it. So that's going to be a good series. That's what I'm going to be watching tonight, along with little Monday night or little Thursday night football.
Coach, what do you think about if the Dodgers are the 3 seed? What teams do the Dodgers not want to play between the Mets, Reds, Giants, and Diamondbacks?
Well, I think the Giants are always scary because they know you so well. Even though the Dodgers have had an incredible record against the NL West this year, on any given day, I mean, Robbie Ray, who had a rough outing last time against the Dodgers, they're going to see him, I think, tomorrow. He can go out and throw a gem. Logan Webb can throw a gem. The thing with the Dodgers, though, the Dodgers are getting their guys back. I mean, Tommy Edman he doesn't have a lot to show for it. His swing looks absolutely fantastic right now. He's going to get it going. Muncy's back in the lineup. They're hoping to get Will Smith back. That's one thing with the Dodgers. I think people, Sammy, need to talk more about Rortvedt. This guy that's come out of absolutely nowhere. He was in AAA. I think he spent some time a while back with Tampa Bay. But, I mean, this guy's an absolute no-name. And all of a sudden, he's the Dodgers' everyday catcher with Dalton rushing out and Will Smith out. That guy's done an incredible job of handling this pitching staff. But I think the Phillies are a very tough team if you end up getting them in the second round. But in that first round, I think the Dodgers, I think all of those teams, because the Dodgers have been so up and down, the Mets scare me. If the Padres had to play the Mets, which they wouldn't in the first round, that would scare me because they've got the ability with Lindor at the top of the lineup, and then you got our old buddy Juan Soto, who's having a heck of a year, the polar bear who wore out the Padres the last few days. He's had a heck of a year. That Met ball club is underachieved. I'm not sure they have the pitching to go real deep, but I think they put some markers on the board that you're going to have to match. So if the Dodgers had a pick, they'd love to probably play Cincinnati, a team that they swept at Dodger Stadium a few weeks ago. But I think the Reds are going to come up a little bit short. They'll have to wait until next year.
In a 3-game series, the Mets are terrifying. That's how we open up the show today, Coach.
Yeah.
You think about Alonso. Soto should have had 2 home runs yesterday. He was 3 inches away from another one off of Mason Miller. But the Mets, if they have power, they're terrifying. Coach, before we get you out of here, tonight's matchup, Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. Any shot at all the Dolphins can cover an 11.5-point spread?
Well, the only way I think that's going to happen is if somebody puts the padlock on the door leading out to the stadium of the Buffalo Bills. I don't see that happening. And I got to be honest with you, their head coach, he may be coaching for his life tonight. If they get beat significantly on national TV to where it was an embarrassing loss, there may be a coaching change in Miami here very quickly.
I don't disagree with you, Coach. Appreciate your time. You can find the coach on YouTube at San Diego Sports Talk, and we'll see about tonight. Sammy has the Dolphins covering the spread. I don't know if I like that pick, but Coach, I'm glad you you bolstered my side. We'll talk to you next week, Coach. Thank you.
Hey, be well, boys.
All right, there he goes, the coach, Kentera, every Thursday at 1:30. Appreciate his time as always. Sammy, Coach is betting against you.
Well, we respect the coach.
We respect the coach. And I agree with the coach.
I differ with. I firmly believe that we're going to cover 11.5.
Oh, man. Burrito bet. That's what it sounds like to me. All right, we'll close this thing out. Coming up next, make our final picks for tonight at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Catching up on the text line before we get out of here for the day, 858. I definitely bet the under on neon green mugs tonight, considering Buffalo is blue and red and Miami is turquoise and orange. Doesn't matter, bro.
I like that analysis.
Yeah, but
see, we could have some hometown fans.
Neon green is popular. 619, great chat with the coach. Very interesting. Agree the starting pitching is the concern. I would use an opener in game 2 and start Miller. Go to Darvish and see how he does, and then have Morahone, Adam, Morgan, and Estrada as backup. As unconventional approach as this is, it worked for the Dodgers, and this is no time to worry about wearing out pitchers' arms. Gotta win. Love the show. Brian, Sammy's been saying this for a couple weeks now, that the Padres should take a look at maybe starting one of the closers in one of the games in this postseason series and then seeing what happens. It would be very out of character for Mike Shildt, I think, who likes to roll with his guys, but maybe it is the best idea for this Padres team.
I think it would be smart to be, especially considering how Darvish and Cease have struggled against the second time seeing the stars. If you got out of the first inning, didn't let them see him, and then let Darvish go, let Cease go, I think you might have more success. These guys might go later in the game. Maybe you don't open with Miller because he's your flamethrower, but maybe Estrada. But Miller's option too. I totally agree with that, Brian. I think that an opener, Mike Shildt is seriously consider it for the postseason, depending on who's pitching.
We'll see what happens. All right, Sammy, are you sticking with your pick that the Buffalo Bills failed to cover an 11.5-point spread tonight against the Miami Dolphins?
Yes, I am. I am going 31-20. They barely cover. Bills.
Give me a 14.5-point spread. I'm still taking the Buffalo Bills. We got domination coming tonight from Josh Allen and the boys. Sammy is just a Buffalo hater, and we all know it. Big Marsh, what's your pick? How am I a
Buffalo hater if I pick them to win?
Big Marsh, what's your pick?
I think Miami, short week. Buffalo is, doesn't have the eye of the tiger. They've been dominating. Miami upset.
What? Like money line?
Marshall.
I just think they're just going to pull it off. This is one of those games, man. Like, you always think anybody can be beaten any given day. And it's just a perfect storm of the Bills are riding high, Dolphins are not. And then one game. And then
I hope you are right.
Yeah, because Sammy's a Buffalo hater. Any given Thursday, we all know that line from every movie ever, right? Hey, speaking of Any Given Thursday, every Thursday here on San Diego Sports 760, you can catch the Sean Lewis Coaches Show tonight, 6 o'clock. John and Rich will sit down with the Aztecs head coach to preview Saturday's game against Cal and more. The Sean Lewis Coaches Show tonight, 6 o'clock, right here on your home for San Diego State football, San Diego Sports 760. Now, San Diego football, look, I live right next to Helix High. I hear what goes down on Friday nights. That place is a freaking party. Big Marsh on the mic. Your kid had himself a big game this week.
Well, this past Thursday, he played against Sweetwater, 20-yard touchdown reception. The week before that against Imperial, took it 82 yards to the house.
Hey.
Let me just preference JV, so I don't want, JV, but he's still a touchdown.
Hey, he's carrying on the legacy.
There it is.
Yeah. Sammy gets like a easy layup bet somewhere. He's flexing all day long. Starting tank. Let's go, dude.
There we go. And then
that's awesome.
Cathedral at Helix tomorrow night.
Oh, that's gonna be a big game. My house is gonna be loud.
Absolutely.
It's fun, man. And then other news in the Big Marshall life. The TV show's number one.
Diamonds in the Sand is number one on Lights Out Sports TV network, Sean Merriman's network. We are number one in streaming hours, all of that. So
you want to hear that voice? What's the website, Marshall?
Just go to Lights Out Sports TV. It's a free app. You can download it. The show is free to watch. 3 episodes are up now. The 4th episode should be out next weekend.
And Big Marsh narrates the show. So go check it out.
There it is.
Sammy, come back to San Diego safe and sound. Maybe get yourself a burger on the way. We will see you all tomorrow. John and Jim are coming up next. Here from Mike Shildt, the Padres head coach, on the Padres loss of the series alongside John and Jim. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.